Mr. Heroscape here today, coming at you with update number 14. Today is probably going to be a little bit of a quicker video, not as much to unpack as yesterday. There was quite a bit to talk about and look at, but still, nonetheless, super exciting. Let's get right to it. I'm going to start off with the back story, I guess, here from the designer. So, quote, "That sound of footfalls in the distance is heading right for us. The scion of the wild bows not before the belligerent city dwellers, instead lashing out with the primal anger of the many snarling beasts that fight beside him in combat. He has become one with the pack, understanding the instincts of nature's raw power better than any other Dryan magi in the order. With a powerful magical staff forged by the mighty Volaric of Hockland," okay, so called to Valhalla there, the scion of the wild bends the beasts of Arboreus to his will, and drives forth a raging stampede of claws, horns, and fangs to battle against his adversaries. Well, first of all, that just sounds incredible. It's super awesome. Now let's see the imagery. And there he is. I am so excited about this mini. I mean, this concept art is just so cool. Now, this is kind of the final version, it looks like. You'll notice we saw this guy yesterday, so I think this was some of the early concept art, clearly. And then it looks like we have a little bit of a lesser version here, and then, you know, a few different poses over here. But this is the final form, and man, does that look so cool. I mean, look at those like gnarled legs, you know, he's like half undead, maybe, you know. Oh man, this is so crazy. The snake's wrapping around his arms. Oh man, the headdress is so cool. Okay, so yeah, those are feathers, feathered headdress. Okay, wow, man, look at that. Oh, and the other thing is, well, first off, goat feet, so that's cool. Check this out. He's off the ground. His cape is being used as his support. Isn't that so cool? I mean, that is such a smart idea. Like, talk about good design. I love that. I love that instead of putting like a standing base on him, they've opted to have him hovering or floating or flying or something. But to show that by the cape holding him up in the air. So the cape is essentially, right, you know, just there, but for practicality, the miniature itself, the cape is the one holding him up. That is so cool. That is so freaking cool. And what I also find interesting, if we go back to the statements, if you look here, you know, it says, with a powerful magical staff forged by the mighty Volaric of Hockland. So Hockland is on Valhalla, right? So it's interesting that the scion of the wild bends the beasts of Arboreus to his will. That would reason to stand that he couldn't have become as powerful a magi without that magical staff. But the magical staff came from Volaric of Hockland, and that's on Valhalla. So what's interesting is what's the insinuation there? Does that mean that the scion was summoned and, you know, maybe he was a powerful magi, but he wasn't, you know, nearly as powerful until Volaric of Hockland gave him that staff, similar to how Sergeant Drake received his weapons and items from Jandar and other units as well. I mean, we have multiple cases where, you know, the Valkyrie generals summoned their heroes and then gave them magical weapons. And so this isn't unheard of. In fact, this is actually awesome that they're calling back to, original Heroscape lore, where, the heroes summoned were provided with items, and I love that. But it's interesting because then what's the backstory of the Scion of the Wild on Arboreus? Because it's as if he was summoned to Valhalla, given his, staff by Valeric, who we don't know who that is yet, I believe. I think that's totally new. And then he goes back to Arboreus, or I guess no, I guess the hounds or claws, horns, fangs, I guess the beasts were probably summoned with him, and then he was given the staff to control them, I guess would be my guess. So anyway, and so instead of lashing out with the primal anger, or instead of lashing out with the primal anger of the many snarling beasts that fight. Sorry. Instead, lashing out with the primal. Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I was misreading that. So basically, this guy is kind of like a Kurok, I would guess, like a beast master, right? So he's definitely going to be some sort of commander, right, unit where he's in the battlefield, but he's giving activations to common heroes or common squads or something. So think Kato Katsuro, think of Kurok. He's definitely in a more of a passive pose, more of a supporting role. So I imagine he is going to be the center of this faction, probably. And allows him to kind of do the bread and butter armies where he's activating multiple heroes or units, squads, what have you. So, dang, that just looks so cool. So we get just one unique hero today, but that unique hero looks freaking sick. That unique hero is very likely a central focus of the Dryon order, or Lifeborn Dryon Lifeborn order. And he seems to be the main magi, I would guess. I mean, just looking at him, I would say very clearly kind of the main guy, most powerful. Obviously, we don't know that for sure, but also really cool is that he's kind of like a Kurok or what was I just saying? Or Kato Katsuro, right, where he's like the center military person that kind of passively sits by and commands the troops, right, or commands the beasts. So we're seeing, a pretty neat and exciting, something we're familiar with there, I think. And those twin hounds we saw from yesterday. In fact, a lot of those beasts that we saw yesterday that were just gnarly, those could very well be all beast types that he commands. And I think it could be anything. It could be unique heroes, common heroes, uncommon heroes, squads. I'm not, obviously we don't know, but, it's exciting. It's exciting. And I love that. The other thing too is they're bringing in Hawkland, right, and showing that he was given this magical item, right, which calls back again to original Heroscape that we're used to. Some of that, nostalgic feeling of fantasy, and something that was unique for Heroscape was that these heroes were being summoned and given magical items to enhance their abilities on Valhalla, right? And so that is just cool. I mean, that is just straight up cool, and I love that, we're seeing some callback to the original aspects of Heroscape. I mean, that's just proof. Proof is in the pudding, right? 2.0, I think, is going to be something special. So anyway, feel free to throw in your comments, your own ideas. Obviously, that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.